Ryan came to me in 2019. She had written a song which she wanted to make into a music video. This was not a love song, a ballad. This was a song about somebody's life, a tragedy, a traumatic experience. I asked her, are these lyrics, is this story, is this song about something that has happened to you personally in your life? And she replied, yes. This was Ryan speaking, but for hundreds of thousands of women and children that have suffered the same experience, but have yet to find their voice. In September of 2020, a new Prime Minister was elected into government, and on his opening speech on national TV to the Japanese public, he stated, "I will make new government, and I will make a government that works for the people." Mr. Prime Minister, I challenge you to watch this video. I challenge you to listen to the words that Ryan is speaking. These are the words of many, many, many people in your country that are suffering on a daily basis, not just from the trauma and the tragedy of what has happened to them, but the fact that they do not have or do not feel that they have a place to voice, to speak out against what has happened to them. The legislation here in Japan in regards to sexual abuse, sexual harassment, rape, child abuse needs to change, and it needs to change now. The women and children of your country need to feel safe. There are millions and millions of women and children all over the world right now that are suffering the same tragic story that Ryan has suffered. We need to make change. We need to protect our own.
I don't know how to start. I remember being 13 with a finger to my lips, and now you would say, darling, no one can know about this.
You kind of held back on your voice. This is going to happen 3 or 4 times until you're happy with your voice, but just feel it. Don't worry about anything around you.
All right, let's fucking do this. When you're 8, he's going to tell you it will taste just like a candy of sweat and desire and shameless perversion. He will say you're his favorite, and that will mean something to your budding curiosity. Please know it's not your fault that you never knew what candy should taste like, or what it should feel to be someone's favorite. My experiences in its entirety, I realized that that's where it started, and the way that it started was like a coaxing almost. Like when you're trying to make a street cat domesticated. It's all slow, and like they're tricking you almost. So you're not afraid of them. And if you're not afraid of them, you'll do whatever they want. That's how it started. I wanted to forgive her for not knowing better. Not for not being strong enough or not being whatever enough. It was just you didn't know. That was the start of the coaxing, and I could say as much as I want that I wish I knew better, or I wish that someone had told me that that's what's going on. But I didn't, and the 8-year-old me let it happen, and I guess I wrote that to just forgive her. Okay. Forgive her for the path that she took me on.
When did you write that particular letter to yourself?
Sometime last year. Nah, I don't know exactly. I know it was before, right around the time that I started going to therapy. When you're 11, he will sneak into your bed with his wife and try to teach you a thing or two. No one needs to know how an object feels inside of them until they choose to. Please forgive yourself for not enjoying it, for lacking the skill they desired. Forgive yourself for lying. I think that's when I learned the importance of like putting on a show. I think that's when a specific type of survival instinct kicked in for me. Was just fake it, do what they want, and it'll be over. The concept that being 11 is still a kid, being expected to, I guess, play a part of their sick little fantasy and not being able to live up to it made me feel like something was so wrong with me. And I kept that, I carried that sexual insecurities for a long time. And every sexual encounter, even if it was just like for my own personal pleasure, was so just coaxed in this insecurity that I realized I was never able to grow from that point on, sexually or emotionally.
In this particular paragraph, you talk about he will sneak into your bed with his wife. So basically what you're saying is you were actually being used sexually by not just the male, but also the female at the same time.
It was a lot of the wife trying to try to make me feel comfortable with some really sick things.
At the end of the paragraph, you mentioned forgive yourself for lying. When you say lying, what do you mean? Or who? Are you lying to somebody or are you lying to yourself?
Both.
Okay.
Lying to everybody about everything. Who I am, what I can do, what I enjoy, what I don't. What I'm willing to do. That's where it fucked up my consent. That's where I think insecure little girls learn to talk a bigger talk than they can do, or service, or whatever it is.
Okay, so at the age of 11 years old, are you possibly deliberately changing who you are in order to hide?
Yeah.
Okay.
Saying no was a weakness almost. I was taught that saying no and saying that is my limit, this is where I draw the line, was a weakness.
Okay. We'll move on to the next one. And the next one's actually important because we're talking about a letter to yourself when you're 16. So obviously you've gone through that, you've gone through, or you're going through puberty, you're moving into adolescence. And what you wrote is, when you're 16, they're going to tell you that you're a woman now. They will give you a flawed description of what it is to be a woman. And you will listen. Because you believe this information to be the wisdom that is passed down only to girls who really become women.
I think that's the final step in their coaxing, in their training of you, their molding of you, these predators. They make you feel so proud of it. Like like I went through all of it and I didn't like a lot of it, but this is like my rite of passage now. And once you're, I guess, well, every country is different, but once you hit a point of like an age of consent legal age of consent, then they can do things without feeling it, they can do it not in secret anymore. And that unleashes this pride and this hunger in them, because now they've essentially created a girl after their own sexual desire. And everything that they taught me was normal in my head, was normal sexual activity between people who care about each other. And I remember feeling proud almost. Special. And I think to some people that's the ultimate goal. They taught you how to consent without you even knowing it. And once your perception of consent is warped, nothing is rape anymore, nothing is sexual abuse, nothing's wrong anymore. It's just a perfect fucking heaven for them.
Okay, they will give you a flawed description of what it is to be a woman. If you can remember. Do you remember what their description of what a woman is?
Pleasing men.
To be submissive?
Yeah, to be submissive, and to enjoy it.
Do you believe that in today's society and in Japanese culture that is still
Absolutely.
relevant when it comes to how women are looked upon in society?
Absolutely. I remember being 18 and learning how to say no when everybody wants something now that you're legal years old. I remember trying to chug the whiskey to help me wipe my memory clean. I think around 18 was when I started having other girlfriends and watching movies and a lot of outside information, I guess. And it's also when like a certain rebellion kind of started me regarding that. And then in a way I kind of took it to the extreme because I just resented men. I resented being called pretty. I resented being called nice, approachable, friendly, all of those positive things about me that I'm sure I had those qualities, but I hated them. I've said yes, yes, yes for so long that I was like, I have to fucking say no for as long as I can, and then eventually maybe find a happy medium. And somewhere in that happy medium, I'll find me. 17, 18 was a real rebellious time for me. I think everyone kind of goes through their goth stage. Yeah, your emo stage. I hit that really hard. I think it was somewhere around then, or maybe a little bit earlier, I don't remember, but I remember I completely buzzed my head. Only wore like leather jackets and spiked jewelries and dark makeup, and I just wanted to be as unapproachable, as ugly as possible. I don't know, I just wanted men to look at me and be like, oh yeah. and when I started getting those kind of reactions, it was such a relief for me. Like, people being disgusted by me was such a relief.
You were basically abused sexually from the age of 8 up until the age of 18. As of the day you turned 18, you are now legally at the age of consent. You have rights now. Are these predators still approaching you,
Yes.
even at the age of 18?
Yes.
Were you ever sexually abused at the age of 18? Or around that time?
Yeah.
The reason I'm asking this is because this is actually now, you are in a legal position to say no as an adult. And this may be a tough question, but I'm going to ask you. At that time, did you, or at any time after that, when approached by a predator, try and resist it?
I think you always try. It's just everyone's level of effort is different. I absolutely tried. Did not succeed. Being 13. Fuck.
다행이죠.
Said yes. I wasn't strong enough to hold you off. It's how you liked it.
Ryan, do you want to hear that?
Can I?
You can play it back with your
Is it
voice
okay?
in it. Yeah, that was actually pretty good. You just got it. It's all right. Just let it out. Just let it out.
This is gonna be so weird.
The machines will take care of the rest.
Remember being 13.
この声がいい.
And then obviously, like some parts, I was just drunk and like slurring and just saying weird
What
shit.
did I sing?
And then I cleaned it up a bit the next day, and then had my dad figure out the chords, and then we
Okay.
did that super simple recording.
Cool, man. You've been sexually abused as a child. You've been sexually abused as an adult or a consenting adult. At any time or in any one of those occasions, have you ever sought either legal counsel or gone to the police or voiced yourself openly stating that you had been abused?
No.
Why?
Fear, I guess. Fear that I would carry myself to that point for nothing.
But by doing that, are you not then allowing the predator the freedom to go out and repeat what he's already done?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And how do you feel about that?
Like a fucking loser. Honestly. Like I shouldn't be standing up. I feel unworthy to be speaking for anybody or telling anybody how to live with it or get through it because I didn't do it.
But you are now.
I hope so. I hope that's what comes across.
Why are you talking about this now? And what is it that brought you to this point in your life where you feel that you can be open and talk about something that's traumatized your life, obviously, for many years?
I think I'm finally angry enough. Because I realized I wasn't living. And there's, like everybody else, there's a lot of good in me. I just never let her out. There's a weird comfort in being told who to be and how to be from when you're so little, that once you realize it's not working anymore and you have to be authentic, it's terrifying. and I've ruined a lot of relationships. I've made a lot of mistakes. And I think it would be an easier pill to swallow if I made those mistakes while being who I am. But I've lost so much along the way, and not even for my authentic self. And that made me really, really upset. And I started, I don't know why it took me so long, but I started going to therapy. And there are the basic things that you can kind of guess that you have. I have anxiety, or I battle with depression. He diagnosed me with dissociation disorder that went untreated for too long. And I forgot where I was going with this. What was the question?
When did you begin therapy? When did you decide, or what made you decide that you needed to?
Beginning of last year, I think. Everything just became too much. I've always been functional. And then I wasn't. I started having more bad days than good. And I don't mean like I'm in a bad mood or I'm sad. I mean like just this gut-wrenching darkness, a blankness. Nothing mattered. Nothing mattered. And that's terrifying when you have children or people. Like you can't make friends and make relationships and make people love you and then just not give a shit about yourself. I went kind of with a casual mindset almost, like, yeah, tell me what's wrong with me and then tell me how to fix it so I can just get back to being functional again, because I was functional before. I've had all this trauma, I've had all this shit, but I was functional. I had jobs, I provided for my kids, I wasn't a good mom, but I was the best that I could be with what I was given. So I was like, I know it's in me, just help me get back to that. And they just fucking dug this huge, I'm going to say grave because it felt like a death. They just dug open this bed for me to lay in, surrounded by just this fucking close to everything that's connected to what trauma and what this. Yeah, when I realized what was connected to what, it just made me mad.
Do you believe the therapy has helped you?
Yeah. Not in the way that I thought it would.
Okay.
Not in the way that it helps other people, but it did.
Explain.
I realized this whole time I've been taking my anger out on everybody around me instead of where my anger should go. That was my rock bottom. I pour myself my 9th drink, even though it's 4 too many. Ingest chemicals disguised as food to save a pretty penny. I'll get better at this human thing, just so I can say I've tried. See, I'm not suicidal, just not very good at staying alive.
Obviously, we're talking about alcohol here. And drinking too much.
I drink a lot.
Why?
Because when I started drinking, it was almost medicinal. It was the one thing that took away the bad. And it was always there, so easy to get. It was my eraser.
So is there ever, or has there ever been, a place in your life or a time in your life where you have actually contemplated taking your life?
All the time. My therapist asked me this too. He said, have you ever tried to kill yourself? And I thought about it and I was like, not consciously. But I realize that when I'm not doing good, I don't do the necessary things required to stay alive.
What do you think those are?
It's caution. It's like, hey, look both ways before you cross the street. Or wear your seatbelt. Caution for my life and well-being slowly starts to just disintegrate. If I think about it, I haven't actually been myself, been my authentic self for so, I don't know if I ever have been. When you learn to fake it so well, that just becomes you. I fake it all the time. People used to joke and be like, there's so many different Ryans. I wonder which Ryan's going to come tonight. Or I wonder which Ryan's going to show up for this.
How many Ryans do you think there are?
Oh, I can't even count.
Really?
There's so many.
Is that something you use to protect yourself?
I think so. Part of my dissociation disorder is my mind not being connected to my body. So like I'll do things out of like muscle memory. And I think I've learned to dissociate because my brain just didn't want to feel what my body was going through. I forgive me. Forgiving you, too much to hold, too much to have.
Why do you feel you have to forgive yourself?
Because I can't forgive them.
Do you need to?
I want to. Because until I do, they're stuck with me. In every single pore, in every single... See, they think they hurt you just in that moment. So they get over it pretty fast. It wasn't just one moment or one night or 1 minute of power that they took from me. And if I don't forgive them, then they're still a part of me. And I'm already caring enough. I would like to let some of that shit go. As long as I am wanting something from them, whether if it's an apology or their own finding Jesus moment and they decided to stop fucking little girls, whatever it is, as long as my forgiveness is dependent on them, they still have power. And not over just me, but I imagine over everybody.
So why do you think you need to forgive yourself?
Because she wasn't wrong. And to this day, I'm terrified of making mistakes. I'm terrified of not being good enough for somebody. And I want to be. I think until I can forgive the girl who didn't know better, I can't ever love the girl that does now.
Stop.
I wasn't strong then, I wasn't wrong then, I wasn't grown enough to know enough, but you sure did.
Ryan?
I fucked up so much.
No, you didn't. Don't worry about that. Did you start feeling something because you got a little kanjo teki?
Well, you told me to. You told me to, and now I can't shut it off.
No, good. I don't want you to shut it off. I want you to let it out more because it actually sounds good in your voice.
It's okay. It was just the second time. I'm still warming up.
It's fine.
I hope you know you are more than just the elements and the wild growing flowers. You are more than scenery to hungry eyes and flavor to needy palate. You are more than roots to selfish hearts and shelter to empty souls. You will always be more than what is desired of you. Always. I wrote that as a reminder that You don't have to be or do what everyone wants you to be attractive or beautiful or even worth a thing. And I think I worded it in that way because it's to remind me and to, I guess, remind anybody that the people demanding it from you or desiring it from you, they are selfish and empty. And it's not your job to fill their greed. And if somebody were to deserve that kind of kindness or beauty from you, they wouldn't demand it. It's the greedy ones and the empty ones and the selfish ones that make you feel like you owe it to them. And that last part, you'll always be more than what's desired of you. Is that what I wrote?
You will always be more than what is desired of you. Always.
Sounds so simple. But I need to remind myself that every single day. Because even as an adult, like you get that, even in relationships that have nothing to do with rape, or it could be someone that you're actually in an adult functional relationship with. You're so wired to spread yourself so thin. I kind of know what people expect of me. To certain people, I am the fun party Ryan. To some people, I'm the motherly and nurturing Ryan. But it's important to learn how to control how much you give and what parts of it you give. To really hone that power so you're not giving because somebody is taking. And it took me way too many years to not even learn that, but to realize that's what I need to learn. Start though. See, the truth is, you get to decide when to say no, when to honor your own rights to your own body. And it may very possibly be the most frightening no you will ever have to say. But practice it. It's imperative.
Who are you saying this to?
Myself. And anybody who's like me. I don't think, especially girls, we're not taught enough at a young age to say no. We're taught it's an okay word to use if it doesn't offend the recipient of that no. So now we just have a whole generation of people running around not really knowing what consent is. I think men don't, for sure. I'm not going to say all men. No, some of you guys are good. A lot. Too many men don't know. The bigger problem is too many women don't know. And if they do know, it's purely sexual. I'm not in the mood to have sex right now. And it's just sex in its entirety. Because we weren't taught that our bodies are absolutely allowed to be like, even to somebody we love, somebody we're dating, like, no, I don't feel like cuddling right now. Or when I'm upset and something's happening, I don't appreciate you hugging me. Please don't touch me. Like, can you imagine it takes so much bravery to say that to your own partner without feeling like a frigid bitch. That's just the society now, because men will be like, oh yeah, she doesn't fucking want to cuddle me, never wants to touch me, blah, 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 blah. Like, it's not about you. And it frustrates me that girls don't know it. Because if we don't know it, we can't teach it to our partners. We can't explain it to our partners. We're just like, I don't know why I'm being a bitch. Maybe I'm on my period, or whatever other stigmas are connected to just not wanting to be touched. You can't raise kids to think being polite or even being loving is more important than their own limits and their own boundaries. And I mean this not even as like someone who had her boundaries just like the line's gone with as far as my boundaries as a child goes. It wasn't there. But even aside from that, just teaching a child, even a boy, that your body is truly the only thing that is yours in this life. That's your toy, that's your this, that's your brother, that's your friend. But your body is the only thing that's actually yours, and nobody can take that from you. And people forget to teach children just how amazing that is. And then you have a bunch of adults running around and still not knowing what to do with their bodies. And if they don't know what to do if they can't honor their own body, there's no way they can learn to honor somebody else's. I'm learning just now at 34 years old that saying no is not being rude, and it's not being inconsiderate. It's a pretty harmless word. It doesn't have to mean the world's going to come crashing down on you, or people are going to hate you. It's a harmless word. It's just as easy as saying yes.
In your eyes, define a predator.
A sexual predator?
Who are they? What kind of person?
Scum.
Okay.
Broken. I think they were taught that love is something that it isn't. They want power. They're bullies. They're sick. They're selfish. Fucking predators, man. They're smart.
Oh, they're smart. What do you mean by smart?
They know how to get what they want. Yeah, they're calculated. They're smart. They know how to show you where you drew your own line, and they know how to convince you to move it. There were so many times I still had more fight in me, if only just to, I mean, it'll be a hit or miss, but maybe one of them would have been the type of predator that's like, oh, okay, she looked like an easy victim, but she's not. I was more scared of that one who would be like, now you pissed me off. And then I'd be dead.
In other words, they would take it to the next level and become physically
like all I wanted was to fuck
abusive.
You. Now you pissed me off.
So now I'm going to do something more.
Yeah.
I'm going to hurt you. It almost sounds like they're not. It almost sounds like they don't think they're hurting you by having sex with you.
Yeah.
But if you try and resist, or you get physical, or you do something midstream or midterm.
Yeah. If you say fuck off, I mean
fuck
it.
Off, you asshole.
Yeah.
Then You've just hurt them, so now they're going to...
Really, really hurt you. And if you're in a hotel room or a bedroom with nobody else, it's just you versus a huge man. The odds are not in my favor.
For some reason, one of the things here in Japan, when it comes to law, when you accuse somebody of sexual abuse or rape or whatever else, it always comes up, did you try and resist? Why didn't you fight back? The problem is in most cases, and you see it on the news, it's like a woman was raped and murdered, and the chances are she was murdered because she tried to resist. But by Japanese law, if you didn't try and resist, then you were consensual. And I think
at the end of the day, no matter what the law is not going to save you when it's just you in a hotel room with a man. You might get justice later.
There's no physical proof other than your body.
I mean, in that moment. In that moment, the law is not going to come banging on the door.
Yeah, exactly.
So much of my experiences happened even like as an adult. But the reason why the whole childhood thing is important to the story is because that's what started it. That's what trained me essentially to be someone anybody can rape.
Obviously, you've been in relationships with other men. Have any of those other men used your past to,
Yes.
to in some way actually suppress you or make you submissive?
Yes.
Is that something you're prepared to talk about?
Sure. I also want to talk about and just like tell other people, like, instead of constantly being like, why didn't you tell somebody? Like, be that somebody.
Well, that's what you're doing now.
Yeah, be the somebody that someone can open up to about.
Does it bring all those memories back, or does it give you a release?
To be honest, when I do find myself coming in or singing it around the house, it's never the beginning part. It's always the fire part.
Yeah, but now that you're realizing that you are fire, you are a hurricane, you are now strong enough to take it on. That's the positive side of the song.
The thing is, you have to realize it every day.
So is this song like a reminder to you every day?
Yeah, there wasn't 1 minute that I was like, yeah, I'm wiser now and I'm fire now. It's like
I'm getting
every
there.
day.
The majority of the material that you have provided for this documentary, you have said, evolves during a certain time of day for you. And I want you to explain a little about writing those letters and what it means to you.
The majority of the time, by 2 a.m., I've reached that point of being vulnerable and open. It's a couple drinks in. Maybe it's when I finished reading a book or watching a movie. And it's when nothing around me is demanding anything of me. It's the easiest time to actually be yourself, your authentic self, and find out what's in there. So yeah, a lot of the times that I write will be at 2 a.m. in the morning, right before I pass out. And most of the time I'll get back to it the next day and read over it and fix it up so it's more presentable. But the general feel of what I want to get out is most just like that portal opens.
You consist of multiple Ryans. You have the photographer Ryan, you have the party Ryan.
Yeah, she's there.
But at 2 a.m. when you're writing these letters to yourself, which of those Ryans is writing to you?
I'd like to say it's my most authentic self, the one that is closest to who I really am. And that Ryan feels a lot. She's just drowning in feels. Whatever feeling that's in my heart at the time is just quadrupled and just screaming at me, just wanting to rip out of my rib cage. It's kind of intense sometimes.
So, the Ryan that exists at 2 a.m. or that particular time of day is actually the authentic you.
I think so. I read this book recently by Glennon Doyle. It's called Love Warrior. And there's this one chapter where she talks about how pain essentially splits you into two. And you become your authentic self and you become your representative self. The representative is the one that goes around all day waving at people, saying, hi, yeah, I'm great, how are you? Smile on their face when she's taking care of the kids. That's the one that you're okay with presenting to the public, your immediate public. And when I read that, it felt like just that someone had just taken my feelings of trying to be like, God, there's so many Ryans in me, and just like explained it so perfectly. And it was such a weight off my chest, because I really believe that. And I think some people, if it'll split them into more than just two. Sometimes their representative gets split into two. And then you have like I don't know, middleman or something. And you end up with so many versions of yourself. Most of them are representatives. And there's one who you are at your core. And each representative, you're all from the same backstory and trauma and hurt and love and happiness. But each representative is being sent to where they fit, whatever situation they fit into. So yeah, I think when my authentic self is trying to talk to me, I'm essentially talking to all my representatives. And those are all the different versions that people get to see.
So very few people get to see the Ryan at 2 a.m.
Almost nobody. Almost nobody. And I feel like it's because I'm still trying to perfect her in a way. Sand down the edges a little bit to be more certain in who she is, and then when she's ready, maybe I'll let her out. Every once in a while I'll have a representative give someone a sneak peek.
I've seen a peek, I think.
A lot of people have seen little peeks. I'm not dishonest about things. It's just, I think pain makes people so uncomfortable that they don't know where to put it. They receive these pieces of you and they just don't know what to do with it. And every once in a while you'll find somebody who takes it and then just, thank you, and puts it in their pocket. And you know you're safe with them. They don't try to take that piece and try to fix it or make it better and then give it back to you. They don't discard it. They don't pass it on to somebody else. So yeah, I give little snippets and samples out every so often, and the ones that don't get received very well, I think I take it back and I try to polish it a little bit more to make it more easily digestible.
When you go into relationships with partners,
Okay.
which Ryan do they get to see? Which Ryan do you show them?
One thing I am working on is which Ryan they get depends on who they are. What their threshold is, how full their tank is. And I think I've made a lot of mistakes with people because I'm good with words, man. I'm good at making people believe that I am raw and honest and so brave for sharing this or that. It's not. It's easy for me because I don't know, it doesn't feel like me. It's like, hey, representative, go. Go make them fall in love with you and tell them you love them. Because there is a loneliness in me. There is someone that wants to be loved. But I've made it a habit to be what they would love. And I thought that them loving me was all I wanted from a relationship. I wanted to be safe while they ripped their heart open and gave it to me. So my relationships don't really last. I think that's a hard concept for men to grasp, especially because they'll, I can't tell you how many times I've just had men scream at me being like, you're a fucking liar. You're so fake. You lie about everything. And it's difficult for me to explain to them that I don't mean to lie. I don't mean to be fake. And it sounds so cliche to be like, I'm trying to find myself, or I'm finding my center, but that's really what it is that I've been given one role, and then I became a teenager, I got pregnant, and then I became a mom role. And what was expected of me I was always told. Always told what was expected of me. And I'm good with that. I'm good at following rules. I'm good at if someone is clear what they want from me, I can give it to them with my eyes closed. But if someone were to say, I just want you, that's something I cannot give because I'm like, what? That's not in my file of Ryan's. And most of the time, I think they deserve it, so I would put the effort into trying to give it to them. But there's still so much mess to sort through that we kind of both just end up giving up on each other. I drink about you. I medicate about you. I apologize to every lover about you. Your name should be in every textbook of potions and poisons. Your name should be a diagnosis of what almost killed me, but didn't. What I felt when I wrote that was, it was a little while after, but it was when I was coming to terms with all of the things that I was diagnosed from my therapist. My anxiety and depression and my it's like some kind of dependency disorder. Basically, I'm just like an alcoholic, and I get addicted to too many vices. And my dissociation disorder. I wrote that to someone so he can know that he wasn't just a little blip in the span of my life. That he is like a cancer. He is something that I need to medicate for, drink for, lose sleep over. Every time a new lover does something that triggers me, I apologize to that lover about him. because of what he did.
Who is he?
A very selfish man who used my body like a toy. And not even a toy that he liked, a toy that he just wanted to experiment with to find out what he liked. My body holds memories that my mind doesn't. Triggers, they call it. Like it would release something deadly. I'm still learning to be fluent in my power. So the next time that I'm triggered, you don't survive it. It means every time that I've been triggered up until now, nothing happens. I don't do anything with it. I just curl up in a ball and I get sad and I cry out for a couple days. But the word trigger, triggers are supposed to release something dangerous. And I'm hoping that I learn how to be strong enough and fearless enough that the next time I do get triggered, the trigger does what it's supposed to.
If you had the chance to pull that trigger, would you?
I think to some of them I would. I think there are some that were just clueless. I was presented the opportunity to meet one of them.
Recently?
A couple months ago.
Okay. And how did that work out?
I didn't. I wasn't ready yet. At the point where I am right now, I don't think meeting any of them would help my journey. If anything, it would be a revenge or it would be malicious. And I came a long way without being those things. And if it's possible, I want to heal and I want to overcome it without becoming that. If it's possible. If it turns out there's no other way, then yeah, I'll go fuck a bitch up. But we'll see.
Remembering memories that are painful. And then when you get into I Am Fire Now, you did it perfectly. This is a case of you feeling the pain and then bringing it to a crescendo when you get to the end and liberate yourself.
I'm wiser now. I am fire now.
いい？もう聞きたい聞きたい。ダイアン？今めっちゃいい感じ。
Yeah?
Your voice is getting there. Do you pity any of these people?
I've been asked before if I pity them. I absolutely do. I don't see a way that they can succeed in life, emotionally or mentally. I don't see how they can have a happy love story. They're alone. I mean, it's unfortunate that they had to take their hurt and they wanted to share it with me or somehow make me take it for them. But I see them as such. And it's weird because when I was little, all I saw them was they're big and strong and powerful and intimidating. And I think back now and I'm like, God, what a small man. What an empty, small man. Yeah, I pity them. I pity all of them. Even the ones who were shitty people when I wasn't a little girl, even as an adult. Like, I pity all of them. Misery loves company, and I think broken people want to find other broken people, and when they can't, they try to make someone broken. I'm wise. wiser now. I am fire now. And I am hurricane and glory days and lights off at night. And every day I face the ghost of those days. In anything that's frightening, 'cause this is my brave. Oh, this is my brave. I remember being 13 with a finger to my lips, and now you would say, darling, no one can know about this. I remember thinking, how can I keep this from being my currency? I wasn't strong then, I wasn't wrong then, I wasn't grown enough to know enough, but you sure did. I wasn't gracious, I never said yes. I wasn't strong enough to hold you off, it's how you liked it. I remember being 18 and learning how to say no when everybody wants something, now that you're legal years old. I remember trying to chug the whiskey to help me wipe my memory clean. But I remember pillow forts and boy shorts and lights on at night. I remember whiskey dick and hissy fits and just do it right. I remember shortcuts and forced hugs and see you tonight. And as fast as you came, you were gone. You got pleasure and I got this song. Oh, I will always remember the things you forgot. And I see you in pictures so clearly moved on. And the face in my mirror is begging me, please forgive, forget and repeat. I'm wiser now, I am fire now, and I am hurricane and glory days and lights off at night. And every